Hi, welcome. Today I'm going to be giving a little bit of an insight into how I stay organised as a small business owner, a content creator, a mum, and recently a part-time office worker. Especially with half term coming up, I thought it might be helpful. And you might even have some tips for me, so if you do, feel free to drop them in the comments. Now, if you're anything like me, you'll probably admit that you cannot be 100% organised all the time. You might be suffering from burnout, you might be struggling to prioritise what actually needs to be done and what's important, and not know where to start. Organisation does not come naturally to me. You might have seen my previous video on sorting my room out. But as a small business owner and also as a mum, I've learned a few techniques that have helped me and they might also help you too. So here we go. Before we probably get into this, there's something you should know. This is going to be different for everybody. The systems and the techniques that I use work well for me, but it's important to remember that everyone's different. So feel free to adapt these techniques to suit you and your lifestyle. Something I think we can all agree on though is that we feel more productive and ready to take on the day when our workspace is tidy. I mentioned earlier about a previous video where I was sorting out this room. Yeah, it was a mess. But when I tell you that my motivation, my productivity, my mindset have vastly improved since sorting it out, I am not exaggerating. In my case, I'm lucky enough to have a spare room I can work from. But even if you're working from a small desk or a dining table in your living room like I used to, take some time to organise it. Throw away stuff you don't need. Envelope. I don't need that, see? Naturally disorganised. This tape measure doesn't even belong in this room. That does bring me on to my next tip. Never leave a room empty-handed. And this can apply to anyone, not just small business owners like me, anyone. Every time you leave a room, have a look around. I bet there's at least one thing in there that doesn't live there. And I get it, I sound trivial, I sound like my mum, but it takes maybe 2 minutes. It'll 100% make you feel instantly more organised and less daunted about keeping organised or getting organised. Meaning you can get to a point where you really feel like you're starting to own your time. Because guess what? All those little 2 minutes from across the week build up and you can use that time to do something for you. Or family time, whichever's more important to you. Having more time for yourself is so important when it comes to being in the right mindset to avoid burnout and to stay focused. And I know what you're thinking, free time is wasted time. I could be being productive while this is all happening. And I completely get that. That's exactly how I used to think, and I still do when I'm in peak stress mode. When I do start thinking like that, the best thing to try and remember is something called the oxygen mask analogy. You know when you're on an aeroplane and they say over the tannoy system, if we lose oxygen and masks drop and so on, do they tell you to help others put theirs on first or to help children? No. And that might sound super selfish, but the reason for it is, how are you going to be any use to anyone if you are sat there gasping for air? See, things that we assume are selfish will actually help us be better for others and be better for ourselves in the long run. So take time for yourself and own that time. What I like to do is allow myself a couple of hours on a Sunday night because I truly believe that Sunday is the most important day of the week. I grab some snacks, I grab a glass of wine, a notepad, and I write all the things that I need to do and all the things I want to achieve within the next week. Then what I like to do is break that down into days so it's more achievable. Personally, the first thing that goes on my list for a Monday morning is to reply to all my messages and sort out my emails. You will feel so much better and so much more ready to start the week if you start with a clear inbox on a Monday morning. The other thing that goes at the top of my list is housework. Yeah, I know, but stick with me. What is the point in doing all that work over the past week, picking stuff up and not leaving a room empty-handed when you're just going to throw it all away? Let things like laundry, like washing, like dusting become so overwhelming that you're at a point where you're back to square one. Why not set yourself a timer on a Monday morning to get as much cleaning as you can done, or do one load of washing? Like, it seems trivial, but it works. I also like to set myself a timer to come up with some new content ideas for TikTok. That might not apply to you, but for me, TikTok is my main source of sales. If you're not already on TikTok, I have done a video on this previously covering reasons you should be on TikTok. So if you're interested, it should be up there somewhere. But the timer for new content ideas can be applied to whichever social media you are using for you or your business. After I've got my ideas list, I'll set aside 15 minutes every morning of every day of the week to record new content and to save it to my drafts to post throughout the week. It saves you so much time doing that. I'm guessing by now you've noticed a theme here: lists and timers. And the reason I keep banging on about them is because they are the two things that will keep you consistent and keep you in check. You can't change a timer once it's started, so don't stress about it. Just be proud that you've set that timer and use that time to do whatever helps you feel better and work better. Notice I said you, not your partner, not your kids, not people on social media, not even your customers in the case of small businesses. Because like I said earlier, you're no use to anyone if you are gasping for air. That's what I want you to keep saying to yourself after this video. Write it on your Sunday night list if that helps. Look, I know it's so hard to prioritise yourself, but take it from me, a naturally disorganised mum, small business owner who has struggled for years with burnout, mental health issues, all of that. You need to be selfish, set those timers and set limits. So go write that list. I know it's not a Sunday, but go write that list, and before you do, pick up that cup that is sitting next to you and put it next to the sink. Like I said earlier in the video, half term is coming up. So I'll be doing another video on how to stay organised as a small business owner whilst looking after small humans. So if that's something you might be interested in, then make sure you're subscribed. But for now, I will leave it there. Have an amazing week, and above all, stop feeling guilty about being selfish. Stop it.